Today I'm going to be doing another cryptocurrency news update. I know I haven't done this in a little while, but there are a few interesting articles I wanted to talk about today and some things that have come out about Bitmex along with Vitalik Buterin, which I thought would be interesting to talk about. So before we get into Bitmex, which is the big topic in this video, I did just want to show quickly that Vitalik actually had a tweet here where, jokingly he said, should I drop Ethereum and work for Google? Where he showed an image of a Google email to Vitalik, probably from the team trying to recruit people to work for Google, offering him a job basically and saying you should come work for Google. And he did a little poll saying, asking his followers if he should go work for Google or not. Obviously, most people said no, since, most cryptocurrency people are against centralization, and I'd say Google is definitely a huge, very obvious example of centralization with the internet and how one company is making profit off of so much. Now, the interesting part about this tweet, first off, it's interesting that Google even wants to hire Vitalik Buterin. He is such a genius and he's made Ethereum. He's so young. He can do so much more in his future. So that's a point right there. But it also shows that Google is really looking into cryptocurrency, and especially since Google wants to stay relevant, right? The internet is the main way that Google makes money, and if cryptocurrency is going to be the next internet, if we're going to have a decentralized internet as our next thing, if we're going to have web browsers that are decentralized and everything like that, then Google definitely wants to be the first people to have the best browser for the decentralized internet. So that's why I think they may have been interested in working with Vitalik. But Vitalik did later delete this tweet, which is a sign that he may be considering something. You never know what can happen. It would be very, very amazing to see if Ethereum got acquired by Google or something of that sort. There's so many different scenarios that could have played out. But I just thought it was interesting that he put this tweet up and then he deleted it, especially since it's such a big deal, really, that Google was offering him a job or something like that. Anyways, let's get over to Bitmex. So the source I did use for this is an article on Medium. I will link the article down below, but now let's get right into it. So the main thing in this article that they talk about in terms of Bitmex is definitely the wash trading and their trading desk at Bitmex. So I feel like personally, whenever I think of exchanges, you have Binance, which is the highest volume, or so people thought. Then you have OKX, which is known to have a lot of wash trading, meaning fake trades just to increase the volume of the exchange. OKX is actually one of the lowest liquidity, high volume exchanges on the market. So it's definitely surprising that they're number two. And the fact that they do so many fake wash trades is very well known. But I feel like whenever I'm thinking of Bitmex, I don't really think of Bitmex as a bad exchange at all. I think Bitmex is one of the most popular exchanges for leverage trading, and I haven't really heard anything bad about it. So I thought it was very, very interesting when I saw this article because I already felt like there was some fishy stuff going on, especially with the trades purposefully being more volatile in order to liquidate high leverage trades. If you open 100x trade on Bitmex, you're going to get instantly liquidated because of just the small price movements that happen every second. So that obviously looks a little bit fishy. But they are actually the highest volume on CoinMarketCap, which I thought was interesting. Some of you guys may not have known that because on default, it puts market with fees on CoinMarketCap, so it doesn't show Bitmex there. But if you do click on all, then you actually do see that Bitmex has almost double the volume of Binance, which is absolutely insane. And so that's why I thought it was important to talk about this. So first off, on April 30th, Bitmex actually released a post on their blog admitting that the exchange operates its own for-profit trading arm, meaning that Bitmex themselves trade against customers. So people who have an account on Bitmex and who are making leverage trades on their own or using the API or whatever are actually fighting against the exchange itself to make trades on this exchange and for profit and things like that. So there are a few conflicts of interest there, obviously. Specifically just one obvious one being that they could get a very, very high chance of having an unfair advantage, not only being right next to the Bitmex servers and having full access to everything that Bitmex does, but also a few other things that I'm going to talk about in this video. So what Bitmex does in their for-profit trading desk at Bitmex is they actually have a market maker. And the thing is, most market makers, they can be profitable, but once in a while they can lose money, mainly due to fees. And the thing is, since this is within Bitmex, they actually can pay back the Bitmex team, the Bitmex trading team, if they do lose money based off fees. So I find that extremely, bad, because that makes it so they can make a higher volume of trades. They can make wash trades, meaning trades that just increase volume that aren't real volume, and they can still count it as volume, and basically give themselves an advantage to trading against their own customers and make profit off of them. So, that's obviously a very, very bad thing that Bitmex does. And one other thing is, if you've ever used Bitmex, you've probably had those areas where you're trying to put in an order in an area of high volatility. So if there's a really fast move happening on Bitmex, most of the time it says like API overloaded or too many trades, try again later, or something like that. And that also happens with the API, where if you try to send too many requests to the Bitmex API using a trade bot of some sort, then it can block you. And the thing is, there was actually a large market maker trading firm tried to contact Bitmex in order to ask if they could increase their API requests. And the thing is that they denied that, meaning that they wouldn't be able to get improved API requests for their firm. Yet, they do have their for-profit trading desk that is probably taking full advantage of these situations where people can't trade because maybe the API is overloaded or something like that, but the trading desk at Bitmex can make trades during those periods, which is once again a very, very fishy thing, because they're making profit during periods when people can't trade. So maybe you have a short and you want to close it. Bitmex can do orders whenever you can't close your trade and, maybe liquidate you or something like that. There's lots of different possibilities that can happen, but I think it's horrible that Bitmex has been doing this, and it's just a prime example of, some things that can happen whenever there's really no regulation in the exchange space yet, especially since Bitmex is not in the US, as far as I know, as of this time right now. So obviously, there is that big issue with the Binance trading desk making profit off of its own members using unfair advantages. And then the one other thing that Bitmex has been accused of is actual wash trading once again. Now, let me explain you guys the issue with wash trading. Wash trading is when, there's a certain amount of contracts bought and sold by two separate accounts on Bitmex, meaning that there's an account on Bitmex, both owned by the actual exchange itself, one that sells 5,000 contracts, and then the other account buys those 5,000 contracts. Now, the thing is, since they are Bitmex and they are owned by Bitmex, they don't have to pay any fees, so it doesn't matter that they're doing all these trades that would normally be, obviously unprofitable for normal people. So they're doing all these trades just buying and selling to themselves in order to increase volume on Bitmex, which makes a false impression of liquidity, meaning if you have a large amount of money that you're trying to sell on Bitmex, then the price can change based on that, because there are all these orders here that show a certain amount of contracts that are willing to be bought or sold at these prices. And so if someone tries to sell a large amount, then it can change the price. And normally when people are looking to sell a large amount, they want to go on an exchange with a high volume, because it normally has higher liquidity and they can sell more on one order than you would be able to on a different exchange. And so the false impression of this volume can be, pretty dangerous for people who might be thinking this has more liquidity than, for example, GDAX, where in actual practice it doesn't, because they're making these wash orders. So overall, the wash orders are super deceptive. Their trading desk is completely unfair for the actual Bitmex traders. I think it's something that they shouldn't have, honestly, if they're an honest exchange and they want to keep to being an exchange for themselves. I don't think they should be having a branch that trades on their own exchange with an unfair advantage. At least maybe give other companies the advantage to get a higher number of API capabilities that they also get to make it a fair ground for everyone. But anyways, guys, I just wanted to talk about that a little bit because I thought it was interesting, and hopefully now your view has sort of changed on Bitmex. I think this should be more well known. I personally hadn't heard of this before this article. And I also think it's super interesting that Vitalik may be doing something with Google. But anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please leave down in the comments down below what you think about Bitmex and Vitalik Buterin. Do you think he's going to work for Google? Are you going to continue to trade on Bitmex now that you've heard this? What are your thoughts on this? Do you think there should be regulation? Do you think Bitmex should be allowed to trade on their own exchange? Anyways, guys, see you guys in the next video.